Mr. Pop. Dark.
When the little birds are nesting, and I listen to them coo, there's two lonesome people in the whole wide world. That's me and the man in the moon.
Yeah, I don't know. We sound about the same level. Me and you, Dan. Dane hasn't spoken, so it doesn't help.
Dane's being extremely helpful over there.
I'm trying to sign very inefficiently.
Cool. Yeah. Anyway, seems like the technical side of things are all set up.
That means we can start.
Yeah. I'm
sure everybody's rearing for the discussion about Into Deep by cards. So hello everybody, and welcome to Miskatonic Universe, a podcast exploring fantasy like games as Arkham Horror the card game. I'm Dane.
I'm Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today, because we are taking a look at the player cards in the newest mythos, Into Deep. And Ben apparently has just turned into a fish person. Did you hear that?
That was like some Murloc ass noises coming out there a minute ago. That was pretty fun.
Hey, what's up, Ron Amber? Thanks for joining.
I don't want to be a Murloc. That's we can't go back.
I guess Ben has already been claimed by the fish people. Ben, don't be afraid if you're going to start waking up in the middle of the night in hot sweats, looking into the mirror and finding yourself looking particularly fishy.
That's not good. Do I still sound like a fish? Is my modulator back working?
No, but you probably smell like sardines.
Are we good to continue? That's all I need to know, Dane.
I just realized I have not looked at any or almost any of these cards before at all, which I normally try to do at least a little bit before we talk about them.
So we'll get your hot takes fresh.
This is Damon's
these might not be cooked all the way through, so we'll have to see. But I mean, with that in mind, should we go ahead and start talking about cards?
Let's do it.
All right.
We're off the Guardian land, right?
Oh no, Ben just phased out of existence.
Oh, maybe he's having those hot sweats.
Ben transformed into a small guinea pig in a little circle.
That's not fish themed at all.
Gonna have fun editing this out. Okay, now he's a pair of
started coughing. I didn't want to cough for 10 seconds on the stream. You guys could have just kept on going. It would have been fine.
His ailment is revealed to the masses.
Right.
Anyways.
So here we go. So let's talk about the Guardian cards first. So the first Guardian card is an asset that costs 2, level 0. It has a willpower icon. It's called Riot Whistle. It's an item and a tool. And it says you may take an additional action during your turn, which can only be used to engage. And also it takes up the accessory slot. So that's kind of interesting. That's a card type. This is like a type of thing that we haven't really seen before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an accessory slot which Guardian doesn't have too many of. I mean, it has Hollowed Mirror and.
Is that really true though? I mean, like, so Hollowed Mirror is great. Police Badge is pretty good if you have XP in a lot of decks. I like Empty Vessel is incredible in Mark. You know, I mean, there's at least a few other options.
I meant level 0 though.
Less options are pretty.
That's true.
But this is interesting. It's obviously going to be something that's more used for multiplayer than solo, because you're only going to want it's engaging. You use it on like aloof enemies and maybe enemies that are on your allies.
Also, I mean, incredible for Zoe, right?
I mean, it's pretty good for Zoe if she has like Relic Hunter or something, because she wants to be able to use her cross still, I think.
Sure, but I mean, you only have one copy of the cross. I feel like even if you don't have the cross out, just because, you know, normally with the Guardian, you don't always need to engage something. Sometimes you just shoot it while it's on somebody else. But with Zoe, if you can engage something without spending an action, you'd always love to do it and get a resource, right? So I feel like with Zoe, I would definitely play 2 of these, and then I would get a Relic Hunter as soon as possible, so I could play one of these plus her cross.
Double Riot Whistle.
Or other stuff. Yeah. It's definitely interesting. If it didn't take up like the accessory slot, well, I think it doesn't take up a hand slot, I guess. If it took up no slot, this would obviously be incredible. Because it takes up the accessory slot, I think you have to think about it a little bit.
I also do kind of wish, it's a little unfortunate that it gives you an extra action to engage, because remember, engage is not one of the things that doesn't provoke AOs. So if you have an enemy on you, you can't. You can. You just get AO'd. If this was like a fast trigger ability that exhausts itself to engage an enemy, it would be, I think, in a way a lot better, because you could use it, even if you have an enemy on you. But I think it's still pretty good. And also, I guess it works with things like Payday. So if you really are trying to do that in like a Fin deck or something,
Yeah, or like Skids or something. Yeah, Engage is an interesting one because we haven't really seen many things that just say straight up Engage. I think the only thing we've seen is Get Over Here so far, right? There's not really like a explicit like use this to engage things. Tony has his.
There's also Spectral Razor, kind of.
Yeah. But remember how good that is, though? Like, remember when that came out? It's still fantastic. And because
that's good because it engages and fights and does like 3 damage.
Right.
That's true, but like the engage part of Spectral Razor is like sneaky good. Like all the parts of the card, as you said, are good, but the engage part is like better than it at first seems.
Yeah. I think this could be pretty solid. I definitely, if you're doing a campaign with like in Dunwich where you got Whippoorwills, just having a couple extra actions in the game to just engage those aloof enemies would be great. I mean, it does cost 2, and it's an action to play in a card, so you have to like balance that out a little bit. It's like, do you net gain actions that you engage with?
Yeah,
2 is pretty good.
I guess you have to kind of think about that a little bit, but
I think the bottom line is, so Machete just recently was slightly less tabooed. I think if you're playing Machete, you should absolutely play this. I think if you're playing Zoe, you should probably play this. Other decks, I mean, think about it at least. I don't think it's like a slam dunk, but it might be fun. But definitely Zoe or Machete, I think it's pretty strong.
It's also it's a tool. Was it Joe? Does Joe get extra slots for tools, or is it specifically hands that are tools?
It's extra hand slots.
It's extra hand slots? Oh, okay. So it doesn't help them there. But yeah, I basically agree with what Dan said. So
yeah. Entra. Oh god, I can't like pronounce it. Heroes in the chat is asking if it's better than Get Over Here. So Get Over Here, obviously being a one-time thing, this gives you that continual value, but I think it again really depends upon the investigator. Zoe loves it. Mark, who really needs the healing of Mirror, or somebody else who would benefit from healing, like maybe like Tommy, or somebody who wants to keep their assets around, Larry, or somebody who might need them, might not look as keenly upon this. But
Larry doesn't want to keep his assets around. He wants to constantly kill
that's true.
But yeah, and I do think, maybe you'd rather just have a couple of I'll handle this ones or Get Over Here's if you're not either using Machete or playing Zoe, or if you have other necks that you really want to play. So if you're playing Leo or Larry Anderson and you want to use a cigarette case or something, then that bumps this down lower on the priority scale. But I think for Zoe, and I think if you're using a Machete, I think this is really good.
This is when you use handcuffs to evade an enemy and you want to drag them around with you. This gives you that extra action to engage them.
Handcuffs, Riot Whistle meta. Here we come.
So yeah, definitely. Let's move on to the next card though.
So next card is Righteous Hunt. It is a 1-cost Guardian event. It is level 1. It commits for a combat and an agility symbol. It is a tactic and it's blessed, which means Mateo can take it. It's an engage action. Choose an enemy up to 2 locations away. Move 1 location at a time to that enemy's location. Engage it and add blessed tokens to the chaos bag equal to that enemy's horror value. Then it's got a really cool quote from Lita Chandler from downtown. And it's got some pretty cool art.
This is such a weird card.
So this is definitely a card I didn't even think of putting it in. Only thought of putting it in Tony for dealing with his weakness.
Lets you move twice and engage, or the engage part maybe not actually action compression, and put blessed tokens in, which again we have no idea.
It's worth mentioning that if you have the whistle, you can use the whistle to play this.
I was about to mention that. Lord Bad Boy in the chat, bringing attention to Get Over Here. also. So
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can use the whistle to play Get Over Here, right? 'Cause it's an engage action.
Yeah.
Guess that's fun.
I think I think when you're building a multiplayer fighter deck, you have a certain number of sort of card slots that you can spare for helping you move around and pick up enemies. So the whistle kind of falls into that category. This falls into that category. I'll handle this one kind of does. Get Over Here kind of does. So the question is like, how many of those cards are you going to play, and is this among the best ones? And I think this is pretty good. Like I could definitely see. I don't care that much about the bless tokens, but I just like. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe you should just think about it as like shortcut is sort of better because it's like free and level 0, and with that you're kind of moving one space instead of two. But like maybe it's close enough. I don't know. It's hard to evaluate.
that's the thing, because like the major detractor here is like how much value you're going to get out of your safe 2. If you're taking safeguard level 2 and you're already moving around with somebody anyways, they can kind of like scoot you to where you need to go if you're already needing to go that area anyways. But this, for me, it's really Tony. I don't know.
The thing about safeguard is kind of proactive and this is kind of reactive. Like you can't, if you're playing in like a 4-player game, you can't be on everyone's space all the time because people are always going to spread out a little bit. So safeguard kind of helps you like stay on top of one person, which is nice. But this is something you can keep in your hand, and if someone 2 spaces away draws an enemy, you can quickly deal with it, which is also true of like Get Over Here or Shortcut or I'll handle this one, but this is another card in that category.
Yeah,
this can also let you gather up, and because you move one location at a time, you could pick up enemies in between locations and maybe gather them up and then dynamite them or grenade them or something. I don't know.
It is this is extremely incredible for Echoes of the Past and some other scenarios.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
I mean, all of the cards I've been mentioning are good for that, but this one especially, just because it moves you so far and engages an aloof enemy. Like the beginning of Echoes of the Past, where you're racing to like quickly kill a couple of them before you advance. This would be really good for that.
Yeah, I mean, like something worth mentioning is that the bless tokens, if you're just a regular team or just kind of a regular guardian, aren't really factored into like the review of this. I think they're like definitely a nice bonus if you're going to get like 3 horror value or 2 horror value or something. But like, unless you're a team that really cares about it, like Sister Mary or somebody like that, I wouldn't really consider them to be like a part of the card.
They're a nice bonus in the same way that like if you go to a gas station to fill up your car with gas and they're like, here's a free hat with the logo of the gas station on it. We're giving everyone who fills up with gas today one of these hats. And you're like, okay, thanks, I guess this is just the thing that I have now. That's how I think about bless tokens. But
gas station hat, I like it.
Yeah, or it's like I'm trying to think of like what another example would be. It's like when do you ever get a mail from some charity that wants you to donate and they give you like a thing of post-it notes of like 10 post-it notes? It's like, okay, thanks. I guess I'll use these instead of my regular post-it notes.
Just thinking about this card is great for any type of let guards sort them out nonsense where you need to quickly gather up enemies, put them all in one place, and then dynamite them.
I was hoping that we could make it past this without that. That was in my brain, but I was like, maybe I won't mention this.
This might be key to that nonsense.
Yeah, no, I think you need like Get Over Here for that, because this is like you're gonna play this. You need one action to play this, one action to play Let God Sort Them Out. So you have one action to do 6 damage. Like I guess if you can land a good dynamite, it'll do it. But
dynamite, Storm of Spirits, any of those AoEs. I don't know. This is an interesting card. Maybe if we see more fun stuff with bless tokens, maybe it'll bump up the evaluation. But Dan's right; it's a free hat right now. So why don't we take a look at the next card?
Let's do it.
Speaking of bless tokens,
so the next card is Sacred Covenant. First of 5 covenants that we're going to see in this, one for each class. So this is a no-cost level 2 asset. It's a covenant and blessed, permanent. Limit 1 covenant per deck. Reaction: after investigating any location performs the reveal chaos token step of the skill test, exhaust Sacred Covenant, return any number of blessed tokens revealed during the test to the chaos bag, ignoring their modifiers for this test.
So it lets you save unnecessary blessed tokens. Is that the situation?
once around
Yeah.
basically. So, like when we, how we drew like 3 bless tokens every time, every time we were playing into the Colin. This would let us cancel one of those each round. It wouldn't stop the next person from also immediately drawing 3, but
This like
um,
helps that exact situation and that
yeah,
exact situation only.
Well,
I think.
I mean, it's whether if you want to make sure that the blessed tokens are only actually used up when they're going to help someone pass, or if you just want to make sure that you always are drawing them to trigger things. Does this return any number of them revealed during this test of the chaos bag, ignoring their modifiers for the test, but they still trigger things that trigger off of blessed tokens, right?
yes, they would. Just moving the modifier.
I mean, this potentially, like if you're playing Sister Mary, this could make a huge difference in the number of times you reveal a blessed token and the number of times that you don't waste a blessed token.
Exactly. Yeah. The fact that it's any location is very good. If this were at your location, this would not be nearly as considered, I think. But the fact that it's any location, that's fantastic for it anyway. Like, and I think that Mary specifically wants this card. I don't know of any other investigator who like, is a blessed, like we don't have like something that says just add a blessed token every turn or whatever other than Mary. So I think that this is definitely a consideration for her, because there were times that I've already experienced in every single game that I've played where somebody cared about blessed tokens, where like Preston's sitting on like a fail package and he wants to fail and then draws 4 blessed tokens in a row, doesn't get to fail, gets 1 clue and does absolutely nothing for the rest of the turn.
I mean, what this just means though is that if someone does have this card, it just means that instead of just that happening, first someone will draw like bless 0, and you'll be like, okay, well let's put those back in the bag because we don't need them and they're useless, and then Preston will try to fail something and draw the other 3 blessed tokens. So it'll no matter, because you can only use this once per round. So
yeah.
I mean, I think remember the issue with blessed tokens is still, even if you have the maximum number in the bag, even if you have 10 of them in the bag, that's at most like a third of the chaos bag, so you're still only going to see them. It's still hard to like really plan that, oh, I really need a blessed token on this pull, I hope I get one. But if you're just trying to like draw a lot of blessed tokens, this is a big deal. If we see more payoffs for blessed tokens in the rest of the cycle, then this is like a pretty key part of the deck that you would play to use them.
Yeah, I agree.
Cards.
Yeah, let's move on. Okay, so let's talk about secret cards. We have the first secret card is a 4-cost level 0 asset called Eldritch Sophist, which has a willpower icon on it. It's an ally in Miskatonic, and it says uses 3 secrets. Fast trigger, exhaust Eldritch Sophist. Move 1 secret or charge from an asset you control to another asset controlled by an investigator at your location. And it has 1 health and 3 sanity, and it takes up the ally slot. I don't know if this card is good, but I love it. What do you guys think?
Question marks? Basically what this card had for me thinking for a very long time. Like, this is the only card, I think anyway, correct me if I'm wrong, that comes in with secrets that doesn't actually use them. It only uses them like by using its ability to feed it to other things. So the most efficient, I think, use of this is with secrets, just because by virtue of it coming in with 3 on it. So the question is there any asset that is like ridiculously good and that would benefit so greatly from having Eldritch Sophists that you can pump more secrets into it, or like charges into somebody else's charges, because it is any necessary location.
I am trying furiously to remember what the name of the magic card is that moves charge counters between cards. Power conduit. Power conduit.
Throwing his head back.
No, I mean, I love this kind of thing. I would love it if you could just build a deck around having awesome secrets and like moving secrets around to different cards. The real issue with this is that I'm not sure this is better than the engine of just Mr. Rook plus Astounding Revelation, which gives you a bunch of secrets. And there's also like upgraded Knowledge is Power, or sorry, not Knowledge is Power. What's the True Understanding. All the secret cards have the same name. It's impossible. But the
I mean, keep in mind that Mr. Rook has of course been tabooed, so like you could use this guy.
Truth from Fiction. Sorry, Truth from Fiction.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like there's other ways to put secrets on things that I fear are probably a little bit better than this, considering this costs 4 and it takes up the ally slot. But this is still really neat, and I am excited to see what kind of decks you can use it with.
I suggest using it for the Unidentified Forbidden Tome to try to get some of the secrets off of it without using the action.
Hey, there you go.
It's a fun little thing. Which of the unidentified stuff use secrets? I can never remember which ones do what. Does Ancient Glyphs or Stones or any of them use secrets?
Archaic Glyphs is charges.
Archaic Glyphs is charges?
Yeah, secrets is like most books use secrets.
Oh yeah, Necronomicon, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that should have been there.
Yeah, it's a good thing they buffed the Necronomicon by having more cards that interact with it. That was really a risk. I'm excited to use this to charge up a Lux Cannon a little bit faster. That's going to be really cool. I'm also what is the Dark Steel? What's the Dark Steel thing that if you get 20 charge counters on it, you win the game? I've won a game of Commander with that before, so I'm excited to use Eldritch Sophist in that deck.
It's clear Dan has no actual takes on this card, so let's move on. I don't know.
The next card is Stirring Up Trouble. And it is a 0-cost Seeker event. It is level 1, commits for a combat and a intellect. It is an insight and it's cursed. As an additional cost to play Stirring Up Trouble, add curse tokens to the Chaos bag equal to your location shroud value. Discover 2 clues at your location. So this actually reads, discover 2 clues at your location. Because the first part basically doesn't matter whatsoever.
Yeah, that's how I read it. I guess if you use like a Shroud 4 location, it puts like 4 curse tokens in, which I guess kind of starts to shift the math. But
this card,
most part, it doesn't matter.
I was like rubbing my eyes when I saw this card. I was like, what? This is a secret. Why do they get this? Like,
it doesn't feel like a Seeker card really, but it does in some ways, but because it feels a lot like Drawn to the Flame. That's like the closest comparison for me, I think.
That and like the poor rogues have to play Intel Report, spend 4 resources to get 2 clues off her location.
Yeah, but 4 resources is a lot less to a rogue, right? It's like, yeah, it's fine.
Seems like a really good card. I mean, until we see like Curse being real bad, even if you've loaded up like 10 curse tokens in the bag, it's usually not that big a deal. Maybe it makes you fail 1 test at some point.
Yeah,
if you're clues technically,
there's a huge boost to this card too. If you're playing Trish and you're playing double, you get to say double, stirring up trouble.
I don't think
That's
I would.
It's just a witch now. What's happening? Oh, maybe she says guys are witch.
You can't tell me that they didn't plan for that.
She's probably sneaks into the witch camps, and that's what she does. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's also an insight, so I mean, it doesn't really help. It's not great in the Hunch deck, I think, but because it's free, but you could recur it or something. I think it's just I think in Seeker decks, it's not as important to have a thing that can get you clues without having to investigate, because you can almost always pass an investigate test. But even still, there's locked doors, there's haunted locations, there's places where it might be nice. And bottom line is, if you're going to play a card like that, like I'd play this over working a hunch a lot of the time because it's free, right? So I think this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's off class loves this, right? Like Roland loves this. Anybody who can run this loves this card. Really? Even like I know that you've tried Seeker, Tony, and I don't know if that was a hit or for you, but like even people like that can run this event, which is amazing.
Especially anything that's like get 2 clues, great in 2-player or pretty good in solo, right? Because you can just clear off a whole location at once. So yeah, I also like even like Luke, probably pretty good for Luke, right?
Oh my god,
yeah.
Oh no, Luke! Oh my god, he can play this anywhere. Oh god, this card is ridiculously good.
Yeah, real strong.
Yep.
All right.
On to the next one.
Bad to say there. So next we got Blasphemous Covenant. This is a Seeker asset, no cost, level 2. It's a Covenant cursed, permanent, limit 1 Covenant per deck. I'll probably read that every time, it's fine. Reaction, when an investigator at your location reveals a curse token during a skill test, Exhaust Blasphemous Covenant. Treat that token's modifier as +1 instead of its normal modifier. After this test ends, return that token to the Chaos bag. So it makes one curse token a +1 once per
seems bad.
round. Oh, at your location. Wow, this is much worse than the other one.
This seems really this seems really bad.
Compared to Sacred Covenant anyway, it's not nearly as impactful.
It's weird that it's weird that it's so much worse. It feels like if it didn't have the at your location, if it let you treat it as a +1 and then also remove it, or if it lets you do this to multiple curse tokens, like any of those things would make it at least a little better. It's worse in like every way than the Guardian one.
Well, I want the curse tokens to feel scarier in general, so maybe that's why they restricted it more. While they want the bless tokens, like the other one basically makes it so bless tokens don't whiff.
Which is honestly the most important thing that you need for bless tokens.
Yeah, right. And this makes it so a curse token maybe doesn't make you fail a test. I mean, most of the time it probably isn't if you're committing correctly, but yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said for the fact that all of these covenants are permanent. Permanents are actually like generally better than a normal card because they start out, regardless of what you're doing, they will always be there for you. That being said, this is like the least impactful one that we might see today. I don't remember for certain if that's the issue here, but like Sacred Covenant, it being a 2 experience permanent asset is just by far and large way better than this.
Yeah, that's a good point. The fact that it is a permanent means that like eventually if you get 1,000,000 XP, I mean Seekers have so much other stuff to spend XP on, but if you do eventually get to the point where you have like 95 XP and nothing else to spend it on, sure, get this, why not? Because it's not like you're taking a better card out of your deck, but I think that's pretty much what it would take.
Yeah. I'm in agreement there. I guess this is here for Seeker because I think it seems like the Seeker cards we've been getting for this cycle add curse tokens. So maybe this is supposed to be if you're trying to do a curse token heavy Seeker build or something, this will help cancel it out. It also keeps the curse token in the bag, so
you can discover you can discover the Necronomicon or whatever, or the whatever it's called.
The unidentified whatever.
Well, unidentified my butt. It's definitely the Necronomicon, right? I mean, come on. It's like anytime. Look, there's only one really scary book. It's well, I guess there's that in the King in Yellow, but
there's a couple. It's just the Necronomicon has a lot of
copies.
But that is a good point. I think we've seen that's how the color pie breakdown is. Guardians get to add bless tokens. Seekers and Mystics get to add curse tokens. Rogues get to add curse tokens, and Survivors get to either add bless tokens or remove curse tokens.
Yeah.
So
Mystic was either or two. I don't know, but
yeah.
Definitely for Seeker, it's cursed. So maybe with more cards, maybe there'll be some cool combo you can do with like, oh, I really want to build up all the curse tokens. Other than the identified thing, there has to be other stuff to make you consider this. But yeah,
draw a card for each curse token in the bag. Give it to me. I want it. That's what it'll take to get me to play these cards. I'll do it.
I feel like there's a good chance that'll happen just because
it'll be like up to a maximum of 3 or something. It won't be cool, but if it is cool, I mean, I'm put me down for one. I'm into that. Yeah. Should we talk about the rogue cards now?
Yep, let's do it.
All
We're in Greentown.
Here we go. We've got our first green card. It's called Breaking and Entering. It is a level 2 event. Sorry, a cost 2 level 0 event. It has an intellect icon and an agility icon. It is a trick. So Rita can play it, right? And it says, investigate. Add your agility value to your skill value for this investigation. If you succeed by 2 or more, you may automatically evade an enemy at this location. This attack does not provoke attacks of opportunity.
It seems like a pretty decent card.
Really?
I don't know. I guess you have to already have the enemy there, and you want to.
Trish, right? This is like Trish do what she does and then play this card. It's kind of.
Trish maybe wants to use it. Rita could actually discover clues with this card. I guess if you ignore the succeed by 2 effect. Oh, it doesn't provoke any AO. That's kind of good.
Right. Yeah.
But it's kind of like, I mean, if your agility is high, like you could probably just evade it normally in most cases, right? I mean, I guess what's nice about this is you can evade something that isn't on you, so there are some advantages to it.
And this is also automatically evade an enemy. It doesn't say non-elite enemy.
Yeah, I just if your agility is good enough for this to be good, you could probably just evade it, right? I don't know. Look, I'm not saying this is like terrible. I'm just saying it feels pretty situational. I think you're probably gonna like maybe start with this when you're making a deck, and you're gonna cut it because there's just better cards.
Yeah, other than Rita, of course, because
Yeah, I mean,
she's been a desperate lack of tricks.
It's a way to investigate with your agility, basically. So it's an extra way to do that. I don't think you can totally overrule that. You're paying 2 cards and a money, also maybe to save an action if there's also an enemy there.
yeah,
It's one-time objects, right?
So the way that it works with Trish though, so Lord Beppo in the chat said it's like a Trish card, 2 clues and an evade, but it's actually 1 clue and 2 evades, right? So if you succeed this isn't it?
No, because Trish's you can get an extra clue or automatically evade.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. You can pick. Yeah. So yeah,
So that's why I was thinking Trish. You can have an enemy on you. You don't break an AOO. You get 2 clues and probably evade. So
yeah,
I wish
Trish and Rita.
It's good compression for.
I wish this didn't cost 2. Like, why does it need to cost 2?
Because it's a rogue card and they all have to cost.
So that on your own works with it, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the ally that came in Winnie's deck? Does that work with Shoot?
Oh, Chuck.
Chuck?
Is that Gambits and Tricks?
Chuckles. It is. No, it's Tactics and.
Oh, Tactics and Tricks. Yeah, I mean, if you're playing Chuck, then this is decent. Yeah.
Because what does it do? It makes it fast, cost 2 less, and cost 2 less.
Isn't it like you can pick any 2, either make it cost 2 less, make it fast, or increase the skill by 2 when you're doing a skill on it.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely good in the Chuck if you're building a Chuck deck.
Chuck Fergus.
So I don't know. It's not like a generically good put in every single road deck card, but I think it definitely fits in to several decks and archetypes. So
yeah,
I think I like it. I think I'll try it out in Trish at least, and maybe in Rita if I ever play Rita again. We'll see.
For now though, let's move on to the next card.
The next card is Skeptic. It is a level 1 rogue skill. Commits for 1 wild icon. It is a practiced, which is a huge red alert thing. During this skill test, treat the modifier of each blessed and cursed token as +1 instead of its normal modifier. This card.
It doesn't seem great, right?
So this card is like, if you have 10 cursed tokens and 10 blessed tokens in the bag, this is like kind of like an unexpected courage in a very, very stretched manner. Because the +1 could kind of like add to the test.
I think if you've loaded up cursed tokens more specifically than blessed tokens, then maybe you're like, oh, there's a bunch of cursed tokens. This is an important test. I commit this, so I don't have to worry about cursed tokens or something.
It's kind of like Defiance in that way, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's just so you have to commit this to a really important test, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you have to have a lot of blessed and cursed tokens in the bag, and you have to be doing a really important test, or it has to be a regular test that you want to pass by a huge amount. And so maybe all of those things come together. Maybe they don't.
So Rita plays Pop in 1 round, maybe even 2 rounds in a row, and then she plays Skeptic for 2 rounds. So she doesn't care about all the curse tokens.
It also, but yeah, I mean, I think that is the bottom line. Is a good point. Is like, suppose you draw 1 bless or curse token, then this is like a courage, right? Well, it's not quite, because if you drew a curse token, then this is like makes it a. Anyway, but keep in mind though. Oh, I had something I was going to say about this. Oh yeah, suppose you're playing like a mystic, and you also have this in deck. So suppose you're playing Dexter. Isn't there a thing where like, if you play Dark Prophecy, you could potentially reveal a lot of tokens, right, or something like that? Would that work?
Yeah.
Well, Dark Prophecy, you reveal 5 tokens, and then you pick one that's a symbol, right?
But you still revealed them, right?
No, it's like when you like pick one and ignore the rest or something.
So if you did Dark Prophecy and you could like reveal like 2 blessed tokens and 2 curse tokens, and they wouldn't immediately like tell you to draw another one, you would like pick one and then you would resolve it.
That was the one you were allowed to pick, which means you draw no spooky symbols.
Oh, okay, yeah, then never mind. That
But there's other
doesn't
stuff
work at
like
all,
if
though.
you're using it with like Jacqueline or something or someone else, you draw and pick.
Yeah.
Dark Prophecy is a little more restrictive, but yeah, you can go test statue or something. Then I don't know. It's a weird card. I like the art on it. I like that it's a person like stepping on a Cthulhu statue.
Yeah, that's I do like that.
It's very funny, so I appreciate all of that.
But yeah, I like the art too. I think this is one that I can't really think of a great use for, but maybe someone will figure it out.
It's tough to warrant a deck slot, I think, is for me is what it is. Because like generally speaking, skills need to be really high quality, like Promise of Power or like Unexpected Courage or Guts or whatever that you want to do. And like this, unless you know that you're going into a scenario, it's like put 10 Terror tokens in the bag immediately. It's like, maybe I don't want to play this right away.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next card.
False Covenant. This is a no-cost level 2 rogue asset. Covenant and Cursed. Permanent. Limit 1 Covenant per deck. Reaction: when an investigator at your location reveals a Curse token during a skill test, exhaust False Covenant. Cancel that token. Return it to the token pool and reveal another token.
That's
token
fair.
pool is important. So this takes a Curse token out of the bag.
It basically just kind of gets rid of it. It could just as well say treat the modifier as 0, kind of in most cases.
Yeah, somebody in chat was mentioning like the differences between each of the classes' relationship with them, and he said rogues avoid the consequences of their actions. That's exactly what this is doing. They'll put like 4 curse tokens in the bag or something at some point, and then have this to bail them out whenever they draw one, right, later.
Yeah,
which is nice. It's definitely more powerful than the Seeker Covenant, I think.
So if you have a reason to load up curse tokens, which I feel like we're still not there yet, I guess maybe if your Amanda's popping off, maybe there's a lot, but this can kind of help mitigate them a little bit. Like you use it on like a test that you would fail or something with the curse token, which doesn't always happen. So.
That's the really important point to remember is you would, of all the times that you draw a curse token, the only time this matters is when after the curse token you would fail by like -2 or -1, right? Because otherwise, well, I mean, I guess for rogues actually you might care about how much you pass by, but for most tests, there will be a lot of tests where you draw a curse token and you don't care because you were up by 4 and you still pass by 2, or you were going to fail by -1 and the curse token makes you fail by 3 instead, and it just doesn't matter, you know.
It's more that this is when you draw the curse token, so you have to decide to cancel it before you would draw the next token off of the curse.
Oh, really? Oh,
so, yeah.
I don't like that either. That's not great.
So it's like if you are really worried about the test, you want to cancel a token if you get it. I don't know. It's definitely better than the secret one, but this is also at your location.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
It is. I think you're right. Probably better than the Seeker one. Still, I think not very good at all. It is a permanent, so eventually once you have 1,000, if you're playing the O-Ball and you eventually have 1,000 XP, maybe.
Yeah, I think that, like, for me, Faustian Bargain has basically made it into every... So you know that there's going to be some... At least I know there's going to be some amount of curse tokens in the bag. And playing through Innsmouth right now, there's just kind of some inherently around in scenarios. But, it's tough to warrant unless you're going really, really, really into curses, and then you might want to play False Covenant.
Maybe. For now, though, let's talk about the Mystic cards. So the first Mystic card, wow, is called Armageddon, and it is a 4-cost level 0 asset with a combat icon on it. It's a spell and it's cursed. It says uses 3 charges. Action, spend 1 charge, fight. This attack uses willpower instead of combat and deals +1 damage. If a curse token is revealed during this attack, you may deal 1 damage to an enemy at your location or place 1 charge on Armageddon, and it takes up a arcane slot. Interesting.
So these cards, I want to compare very, very closely to the first three uh, mystic assets that were available: Shriveling, Rite of Seeking, and Mists of Ryla, I think was the first one. Because they all do very, very similar. They all, I believe, cost one more in actual resource cost, and they all have one less charge. But they also give you a very potent side effect if a curse token is revealed. So those are kind of like the main differences here, just to put that in the headspace here, because the curse token doesn't matter if you fail, it doesn't matter if you succeed, as long as you reveal one, you get this secondary effect.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So it's like if you would fail the test for whatever reason for drawing a curse token, then you get the charge back. So it's kind of like the survivor gun and keys and stuff.
Yeah.
Or you can just automatically deal 1 damage. Or maybe like this is great if you're like trying to hit a 3 damage enemy and you have a lot of curse tokens in the bag. It can maybe proc and save you a charge effectively, which is nice. But you're right, it does cost 1 shriveling, but it has no
charges.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like, so I think, suppose you were playing an Akachi build and you were going to do some curse tokens. She gets an extra charge. So, like, 4 charges instead of 3 makes a big difference. Maybe that makes this more palatable, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Is that more efficient than running somebody like Jacqueline and using a lot of curse tokens, and for the times that you would choose to reveal tokens via like Dark or Olive or her own ability or whatever, picking the curse token and letting it resolve, that way you do get the charges back?
Well, maybe, but I mean, so okay, you're going to use this action 3 times. So if you think that roughly 1 out of every 3 tests you're going to draw a curse token, then Akachi gives you about the same number of charges back, right? If you think you're going to draw curse tokens more than 1 in every 3 times, then that's better. Right? And I mean, it's also cool because sometimes even if you could put a charge back on it, it might be better to instead deal the damage to a cultist at your location or something. So
that's even if you fail, right?
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I do think this is pretty cool. I'm not sure exactly what the deck would look like that is properly built to optimize it, but I think that this is pretty powerful.
Yeah, I mean, at a baseline, it's a little less efficient than tripling, right? It costs 1 more and it has 1 less charge. So,
and it's gonna keep in mind we just recently got recharge level 4, which is a pretty good way to put charges back on things. There's also, I don't think she's super efficient, but Twyla is an ally that can help put charges back on things.
yeah.
And so there's that. There's also you could even have like an ally play a whatever it is, a truth from fiction on you, or or sorry, not truth from fiction, but you could have an ally play recharge on you. You could have an ally play use the ally, the Eldritch Sophist that we just talked about, to move charges onto this thing. Like, there's a lot of ways to put charges back on stuff. So, and also just, the more curse tokens. Imagine if you're playing a group that's like Dexter with Faustian Bargain, Trish with like Faustian Bargain and something, and like someone else playing like Pot, like Amanda with Pop. You could like make a group that's just putting a ton of curse tokens in the bag. I'm not sure if that would be great, but potentially you could be triggering the extra charge or extra damage thing pretty frequently.
Yeah, I definitely want to move on, but I think that paying attention to that, like, these are probably the most powerful effects that we've seen come off of curse tokens, because of the fact that, 1, they don't require you to succeed, and 2, they can be pretty consistent depending upon what your cursed pool is looking like.
Yeah.
Ron mentions in chat, like, we'll probably see upgraded versions of these, and depending on what those do, those become very powerful. Like, if they have the same scaling as like Shriveling, where it's like, oh, the level 5 version is plus 2 damage, but there's no downside of doing 2 sanity yourself or whatever. Instead, there's this benefit. It's definitely worth considering.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm the mystic. My favorite mystic that I play the most is Agnes, so I'm used to not really caring too much about the penalties on those spells, because a lot of times you're happy to take 1 or 2 horror anyway to ping something. or you always have Peter, so you just put it on Peter, or you have Fearlesses and stuff. But the fact is, if you're playing a lot of other mystics, then I mean, yeah, like that horror really does add up, and it can really wreck you. So just avoiding that is like pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's move on though, just because, as Dane hinted at, we're going to talk about other cards that are similar to this.
Yeah. So the next one in the series of new rogue spells is Eye of Chaos. It is a 5-cost asset, level 0. Commits for 1 intellect. It's a spell and cursed, uses 3 charges, and you can spend 1 charge to investigate will instead of intellect. If you succeed, discover 1 additional clue at this location. If a curse token is revealed during this investigation, you may discover 1 clue at a connecting location, or place 1 charge on Eye of Chaos, and it takes up an arcane slot. Very similar effects to Sixth Sense, right? Sixth Sense, if you draw a spooky token, you get to investigate as if you were at a genetic location, I think?
Well,
clues.
This is like upgraded Sixth Sense, where you get both clues, and this is the level 0 version.
Right. Again, it's only if you draw that cursed token, but in the right build, I think that this could be very, very good.
Even without the curse token, this costs 1 more than Rite of Seeking, right? And it still has 3 charges.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has the potential to get you 3 clues in 1 action for a level 0 card.
Yeah, and especially given that we now have at least a couple of mystics like Dexter that are a little bit less poor than mystics have been in the past, that makes the 5 less horrible to play, you know?
Yeah.
I'm really tempted to like adaptable this into my Dexter deck. That's what I'm running, because this seems like it'll be great for him.
Well, and also the other thing we should mention, like one of the cool things about getting the new cards in Jacqueline's deck was not just that it was like maybe you like these instead of Shriveling and Rite of Seeking, but if you really want to focus, you could play both of them, right? So in the same way, if you play a Dexter deck now that is all in on getting clues, so you play Eye of Chaos and Rite of Seeking and Clairvoyance, and whenever one runs out, you just use Dexter's ability to install over it with another one. And you just always can get 2 clues per action. That could be really good.
Yeah, I like the art on this one too.
Kind of gross.
Looks like
some
her eyes like a skull in there.
looks like maybe somebody's net ready eye got infected or something like that with magic. I don't know.
You guys were mentioning Dexter, but I think that Luke, I mean, with these assets, he has access to the card that just got eroded.
A lot of cards got eroded. Oh, the scroll of secrets, or
that wasn't good.
The event that lets you trigger an ability on.
Oh, knowledge is power.
Yeah, knowledge is power is pretty fantastic too. Just like extra charges, more value from these.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's true.
Seekers have access to cursed stuff too.
But yeah, Safina might like this too, because she's usually pretty rich. So it might be something good for her to pick up. Otherwise, I don't know.
And like Dexter, she can play like Faustian Bargain. She can play some green cards that put curses in the bag as well. Yeah. No, I mean, I was already... Yeah. Armageddon seemed good, and this, if anything, seems even better. Like, this seems pretty cool. Let's talk about what I assume is the last one in this series.
Yeah, so we got Shroud of Shadows featuring Dexter on it.
Great art.
It's a level 0... yeah, it's a level 0, cost 3 asset with an agility icon, spell and cursed, uses 3 charges. Action, spend 1 charge, evade. This evasion attempt uses will instead of agility. If you succeed and the evaded enemy is non-elite, you may move that enemy to a connecting location. If a curse token is revealed during this evasion attempt, you may move to a connecting location or place 1 charge on Shroud of Shadows. So this has 2 less charges than Mist. Mist has like 5, right?
And takes up an arcane slot as well, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and an arcane slot, yes.
Well, wait. The level 0 version of Mists of Relia is 2 cost and 4 charges, right? And it's the upgraded one has 5 charges.
Oh, okay.
The big difference between this and Mists, though, is that Mists moves you. This moves an enemy, which is very.
That's
very.
This is. That's the thing. I can't figure out whether this is like worse than Mists or better, because Mists it's really good to be able to evade something and move. You can do all kinds of great stuff with that. But I feel like in some situations, I feel like that's almost always good. But this, in some situations, is very, very, very good. Like, imagine being able to evade the horrible vengeance snakes in Forgotten Age and just like shove them off to some corner that you're never going to go to again.
That was definitely my first thought, is Forgotten Age, where there's a million snakes on you and you want to get them away from you, whether they're even if they're hunters, like kicking them back away from you so you can like spend a turn to finish getting the clues at your location before you leave is great.
This is like slip away, right? Because this basically pushes them to another location and evades them, meaning that they have to unexhaust and then get to you if they're hunters.
Well, it's kind of like one and a half. It's like 1.5 turns instead of 2, because if you move them to another location, they're still going to move and hit you the next enemy phase. Whereas with slip away, you have like 2 full enemy phases of them not doing anything. But it's and if they're not hunters, then it's just like killing them basically. It's like it's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is weird though, because at the same time, the curse token bonus for this is not as good. I mean, being able to move is nice. Or getting an extra charge is nice, but it's not like extra clue or extra damage like the other ones.
That's fine by itself, honestly. Like you don't necessarily have to move, but like
it's good.
Getting a here there is great.
And miss also has the penalty on mists is not as bad as the penalty on the other ones, because it's just discard a card from your hand, which usually you can just pick your worst card and discard it. So
is it choose and discard
it's choose and discard.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the art on this so much, especially if you're playing Dexter. It's almost abracadabra. All 3 of these are cool. I think these are really exciting and interesting.
Yeah.
Is there some type of dumb janky build you could do with Mary where you load up all the blessed tokens and then you play that card that converts all the blessed tokens into curse tokens and then she uses these spells?
Isn't that
I'm sure you could do that.
Thought of that at any point in time ever.
What's the card that turns blessed tokens into curse tokens besides her weakness?
Isn't there some card? There's a card that like turns all the curse tokens in the bag. Yeah, Tides of something.
At the end of the turn, it changes them back.
Yeah, it turns them all into blessed and then turns them back into curse.
Seems bad.
So, no, I don't know. I was just trying to find some way to make Mary be able to do so.
Just be like that, or just dump a whole bunch of curses in very easily. You know, like that. And he's on this card. Like, look.
Yeah, you're right. No, Faustian bargain. Faustian bargain, get money, play all these expensive months.
Double Faustian bargain. Level 2 Faustian bargain. Put 8 curse tokens in the bag and gain 12 money. You know, there's who knows what we'll find later in the cycle.
Yeah.
These are all fantastic.
Let's move on though. We actually have a 4th Mystic card. We have, of course, continuing this cycle, we have Paradoxical Covenant, which is a level 2 no cost asset. It is a covenant, blessed and cursed. It's a permanent limit 1 covenant per deck. Reaction: after an investigator at your location performs the reveal chaos token step of a skill test, if both a blessed token and a cursed token were revealed during this test, exhaust Paradoxical Covenant. This test automatically succeeds. Okay.
It's the coolest effect that will never happen.
This is terrible.
It's like, so honestly, like I've been playing with Tony and Amanda. We're going, and like I'm playing some like blessed token stuff, and Amanda's got Promise of Power, so like obviously there's going to be curse tokens in the bag, and this happens at least once every game that we play. At most once, I should say. Once. Right. So that is 1 auto success per game. I feel like this should have been
which right? and it very well may not be a test that you were going to fail, and it very well may not be a test that you even care about. And for some reason, like some of the covenants but not all of them, this one is another at your location. This should just work on anybody anywhere on the map, and it would still be pretty unplayable.
That's like, this should have been like Sacred Covenant. Anywhere on the map.
Keep in mind, if you've drawn both a bless and a curse, they cancel each other out anyway, so you still probably pass.
It's still probably fine.
This should say after an investigator anywhere on the map does this, you get to do it, and it should say everyone in the group draws 2 cards or something. You know,
I feel like it's definitely the coolest covenant, but it's like never gonna see any like even close to my table.
I feel like MJ got really excited about putting blessed and cursed and the word paradox on a card again.
MJ's all about paradoxes. All about
this is the purifying corruption of this cycle, maybe. Yeah, no, I think this is a miss. It's kind of a bummer because I think it's worse than all the other ones we've talked about so far. But I don't know. If you do play it, it'll be pretty fun when it happens, if it ever happens.
Yeah, it's like a fun bonus. Like it's only 2 experience, so like maybe if you're overflowing on experience, you can pick it up.
I mean,
if you're playing,
get 2 blood packs before you get this, even if you're just trying to spend extra XP. But no, but for real though, like definitely get a blood pack with your extra XP that you don't know what else to do with before you get this.
Yeah,
mentioning chat, like you could try doing some sealing nonsense with seal a blessed cursed ahead of time and then release them or something. I don't know.
Oh,
It's a
like
lot of
with Dark Ritual.
yeah. I
One
mean,
black for
3
three
aces
black.
or is that the one that makes you auto succeed? There's like easier ways to auto succeed in a test.
I mean,
But-
this is the bottom line. Is suppose you know that you have a Sister Mary and a someone like playing a pop on every test. Suppose you know that you're always going to have like between 7 and 10 of both tokens. The odds of drawing both are still not great. The odds of drawing both on a test where it's actually relevant to automatically succeed are still not great. So I just don't think there's a good scenario for this.
You still have to exhaust it.
Yeah,
I like the art of this one. I like the colors.
yeah, that's cool.
You know,
I like the columns. Great to see some columns. Columns having a moment in the sun. Let's move on and talk about Survivor cards. Oh hey, it's this.
Whoa! In case you haven't been anywhere near us before, Mariner is a 3-cost level 0 asset, survivor asset that commits for 1 intellect. It's an item and a tool. Action: exhaust Mariner's Compass. Investigate. If you succeed and have no resources in your resource pool, discover 1 additional clue at your location. Fast action: during an investigation using Mariner's Compass, spend 1 resource. You get +1 intellect for the skill test. Limit 3 time per investigation. Takes up a hand slot. So this is the one that FFG gracious to spoil a little while ago, and still a fan.
Yeah, just to kind of summarize what we said about it earlier really quickly so we don't have to go too deep into it again. It's basically like a fire axe for clues, but it's more expensive and it exhausts itself, so it's like, but we thought, it could be pretty good if you're playing like a 2-player game and maybe you only really need to use it once per turn. Could be pretty good for characters like Min. There's definitely ways to use it where it's pretty good.
Yeah, the exhaust being the major difference between Fire Axe and it, right?
Yeah, and the cost just making it harder, because if you're trying to play this in like a Dark Horse build or something, the fact that it costs 3 just makes it difficult to get out there. But like Dark Horse Preston could probably do some good work with it. So
yeah, I like Pete can unexhaust it if he really wants to.
that's true.
Kind of people we're talking about. So
it's nice to see more ways for survivors to get clues. So a lot of stuff. So it's a good add to that.
Yeah.
All right.
On to the final card.
The final covenant. The covenant of all covenants.
It's the Ancient Covenant. Like all the rest, no cost. Level 2 asset, survivor. It's a permanent, limit 1 covenant per deck. It has the keywords covenant and blessed on it. Reaction: when an investigator at your location resolves a blessed token during a skill test, exhaust Ancient Covenant. Do not reveal another token as part of this blessed token's effect. So that kind of makes like blessed tokens just be +1 or +2s effectively.
Could this weirdly be pretty good on like expert if you're playing a deck that puts a ton of blessed tokens in the bag? Like
it's also very good for the all auto fail chaos bet mode.
Yeah. I guess on expert, if you try to minimize the test you do on expert. So like if you occasionally do one, maybe if you've loaded up bless tokens, this can help you pass a test when you have to do one. I don't know. I was thinking like this is like because like we see other stuff in Survivor that adds bless tokens. This can be pretty nice, I think, for survivors. Because survivors can sometimes struggle to pass tests. They have the whole fail package because they're so good at failing tests. So maybe this is like a nice way to like boost up the chaos bag in your favor. Because previously blessed tokens did nothing.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, I draw a plus token, but then I can still draw the auto fail after that, or something else makes me fail. Now it's like it makes me pass, so it's like an extra pass bag. But I don't know if it changes like what you commit to a test or whatnot. So
yeah, I mean, like there's different ways. You have to think about what the chaos bag actually looks like, what the sort of curve looks like of like the numbers in the chaos bag. So in a typical like standard difficulty game with like a typical investigator, it's kind of like a bell curve or something. And in general, something that gives you like +1 on a test is is pretty good. But in some situations, like when we did like hard mode Search for Kadath, where the Skull and the Cultist both become like -7s at some point, or like hard mode Where the Gods Dwell, it almost becomes like a bimodal thing where you have a cluster of tokens that you absolutely can't pass on almost ever, and then a cluster of tokens that you do pass on. And in that situation, maybe the best you can do is to add more passing tokens to the bag, which with this, at least once per turn, a blessed token basically becomes like an auto succeed, right? Because so like I don't think this is good in like a typical deck if you're playing on standard like normally, but if you're trying to deal with like a very bad chaos bag and if you're playing blessed tokens, this might actually be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, Survivor, I think, has the tool right now, anyways, to put a relevant number of blessed tokens, which is Keep Faith. That card puts like 4 blessed tokens for 1 fast event into the bag, which is pretty okay.
I mean, is that as good as Sister Mary though? Sister Mary just gives you at least 1 every turn, and you start with 2 at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, but she can't play this.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is like, would you rather be some other character playing this, or would you rather be Sister Mary if you're trying to fill up the thing with blessed tokens?
I mean, we'll see what happens, right? Like Survivors and Guardians being the only people who really looking forward to seeing things that like this that create an interesting like kind of binary effect where this basically just lets you, for every single blessed token in the bag, you just have a +2 once per round, and hopefully you don't draw the rest.
and this does, if you're doing this strategy where you're trying to use this to basically like pass really hard tests by effectively not drawing a real token, this plus the Guardian Covenant together are really good, because you want to like not waste blessed tokens so that you can try to trigger this as much as you can.
Right.
I feel like this will be some type of Mateo blessed token build.
Oh yeah.
Combo. All these cards have blessed on them, so like,
there's so many blessed things. I was gonna say I haven't even thought of Mateo in all of this. So I'm sorry.
I might try Mateo again, like at the end of this cycle, and be like, see if there's something fun where you can use all these blessed cards to like load up the bag with blessed tokens, and then use token manipulation stuff to like.
It's finally Mateo's time to shine. Finally,
I was about to say that.
Time to he might get to be promoted to not be the worst mystic anymore. We'll see. More on this. Probably not. Probably not. But maybe it's at least a possibility.
I could believe that with like higher level payoffs later in the cycle, that Mateo could definitely go for like Bless Mateo. Super cool.
Well, it is. Especially considering if you really wanted to, you could start with this and the Guardian Covenant, because you start with the 5 XP, right? So you could get both of them right off the bat.
Well, you can only have one covenant per deck, though.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Hey, you know what? They're just too good. It would be way too good if you could have. Honestly, this and the Guardian one are the only ones I would ever consider playing anyway. So it's
Yeah, I kind of like the Rogue one, but I don't know. The Ancient one and the Blue Covenant both feel
blueberry
like
flavor. Yeah, blueberry and raspberry are obviously the best two flavors. Grape, sour apple, and banana, not so much.
I do really wonder why they limited all these, except for the Guardian one. Why they limited it to just at your location?
I know. Why that one specifically? Why not Paradoxical?
Yeah,
was it too powerful?
Because it's
without that restriction.
It's not coincidental that the one we thought was actually like worth playing was the one that activates not on your location, right? Like if the rest of these, most of them still wouldn't be amazing, but if all of them were just worked on any investigator, they would maybe be a little bit closer.
I feel like Paradoxical should. I would like start one of those like petition.org petitions to have MJ like errata Paradoxical Covenant right away so that it could do everywhere. It's still staying in my binder probably forever.
Paradoxical should legit have something like if someone draws both a bless and a curse on the same test or on the same token, everyone gains a resource, or everyone draws a card or something, or everyone heals. It should have, or at least you do. It should have some kind of like rider like that, because it's just not going to happen very often,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's all the cards, though, right?
Even if you're doing token manipulation, like even that's hard to make Paradoxical Covenant.
It's tough. Yeah.
It sure is. Yeah.
The only person who can seriously do that is Jackie, anyway. So
yeah,
but you have to like use your ability twice, like once on the once on the draw to get the curse or the bless, and then on the redraw off of the trigger.
But this was a fun set of cards. I like whenever there's a cycle because it's an opportunity for them to kind of delineate the different classes' flavors. And I like that we got all 3 of those new Mystic spells in the same go, because it's cool, because if someone wants to make that kind of deck, they can just pick up 1 pack maybe. I am wondering whether we will actually get like mid-level and level 5 or like high-level versions of all 3 of those, because it seems like that would be just a really big proportion of all the Mystic cards that they can release this cycle. I honestly hope they do. But I feel like maybe we might only get like level 4 versions of all of them or something. Like we might only get like 1 upgrade, but we'll see.
Maybe
Hey, Lando. Yeah, I mean, in the circle I've done, they had only level 4. They had level 0 and level 4, right?
Yeah, and we might get the level 2 ones in like Return to Innsmouth in a couple years or something. You know,
I'm down for that.
That's where we got the level 2 miss, isn't it?
Yeah, and the level 2 Rite of Seeking actually. So actually, that probably is what we'll get. Yeah,
pretty likely then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still very interested in the cycle. I'm excited to see when we have the full card pool to see if there's like some cool, wacky, fun, and hopefully effective builds that can use these tokens.
Yeah.
So there's some promises in here that there's little tidbits of like, oh man, if we get a couple other cards, this could be really cool. But
yeah, it's gonna warrant a lot of testing for sure, because like we've never had anything that has interacted with, like Chaos Bag Math is like, normally, like, so it's like,
it's
what's that? Somebody made like a little website that just like does all the math for you. Even you can put in whatever tokens, including Cursed and Blessed. And it's like, oh, these are the odds that you'll pass the test.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
And that like shows that like you really have to have like 10 Cursed tokens before it like really makes like statistically significant difference.
That is here as a public service. Let me even maybe show that to our listeners, just because it is such a useful website.
Yeah, it's going to take some time to figure out like which investigators can play which, because like there's Dexter who can play curse tokens off of his subclass, and there's all different forms of who can play what. So that's going to be like a really interesting equation to fit who is like the most efficient at doing these things, like who is the best geared to take blessed tokens. I think right now it's Guardians and Seekers, or Guardians and Survivors, which means like Yorick would be good, Tommy would be good at really doing them really well, other than Sister Mary, of course. But these are all things that will.
Oh, this is the show where Dane's audio starts cutting out for long periods of time.
Yep.
I don't know why that happens over the length. So yeah, Dane had the website for
Dane's not the only one, buddy. We'll talk about it later.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Is it because I'd use this stupid noise suppression? Probably.
Dane, say the things we need to say so that we can stop doing this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know if I was still like bugging out or something. Well, I mean, that's all the cards. The Covenants being the biggest thing. How does it? I think we're all like up in the air about some of these things. A lot of the cards in this pack are pretty cool. What is everybody else hoping to see in this cycle? I mean, as far as payoffs go, Dan mentioned that cool one that was draw a card for every curse token in the bag. That's what we want. That's what we want here at Miskatonic. But otherwise, reach out to us. Let us know your thoughts. Check us out on Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, wherever you guys listen to podcasts. Email us at comments@mur.fm. If you'd like to help support the cast, consider donating to our Patreon. Otherwise, thanks for listening, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next time.
And happy Thanksgiving, I think, to Americans listening, right? Because I don't think we'll talk to everybody for a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's true. Happy Thanksgiving.
Have a safe rest of your 2020 until I guess we...
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye.
See you guys.
All right, I'm stopping the stream now.